Ryan, congratulations, man. I absolutely love this series of movies. And,
Thanks, man.
The ensembles always kind of blow me away. And at this point, I was at the screening last night and I heard Mila, she wants to come back. And you said Jamie Lee Curtis would kill you if you brought her back.
It's true.
I'm so curious which of the characters you can see yourself bringing back into the fold, and who is still on like your actor's wish list for like future installments?
Well, I don't know. I love the fact that each one of these is entirely its own case, entirely its own mystery. Also, I love actors. I want to keep working with new actors too. And so, I don't know. At this point, I like the idea of having a new group of folks each time. I think that's fun for the audience. I have a wish list, just basically every actor in Hollywood I want to work. I want to be out of actors by the time we finish this series.
Is there anyone like at the top of the list that we can like call out and manifest?
There is, but I don't. There's a fine line between manifesting and jinxing,
Totally.
and I don't want to jinx it.
Amazing. I already heard the rumblings of a fourth Knives Out kind of being developed with Daniel, and I'm curious if there's ever been a version of the story, or you see a version of the story where Benoit Blanc is the one who ends up being in danger.
It's an interesting question. I mean, Agatha Christie kind of flirted with it with Poirot. It's a hard thing though, because as an audience, you never really are going to fear for Benoit Blanc's life. You know that I love making these movies too much to ever kill Blanc off. So I don't know. It's an interesting thing, but I would say all cards are on the table with this series. That's part of what's fun of it for me, is the notion these movies can really be anything, and so let's test the boundaries of what they can do.
Totally. What I really love about Wake Up Dead Man is like visually it looks so distinctly different than the previous two films, and I'm not entirely sure what like the conversations were, but through shooting through the stained glass and the composition, some of those sweeping motions, especially the shifting lighting, especially in those church scenes, I was obsessed with those. What was kind of like your, I guess, sentiment to like making the visual language of this maybe feel different than Glass Onion or Knives Out?
Well, you're always trying to serve the story, and the story with this one, because it is about faith, it's a little more kind of gothic in its nature. It felt like it would be right to have it be a little more atmospheric. So this is more of a lighting movie. My cinematographer, Steve Yedlin, I had discussions with him about really getting theatrical with some of the lighting, and with the sun coming and going in these spaces, seeing how much we could lean into really getting the audience into the mindset of the tone of almost gothic horror that we're creating with this. So I don't know. I'm really proud of Steve's work in this. I think he did a great job.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. I got to see it on the 35 millimeter print.
Oh,
last
cool.
night.
Nice.
That was insanely cool.
That was fun.
I was so curious because Mila was talking about like the secrecy when it comes to like reading the script and like how it restarts if you try to like skip ahead.
Yeah.
I'm just so curious if that's always been the case with these movies, where it's like everything's pretty tightly under wraps, or is that like a newer?
That's a newer thing. The first movie, we were just sending the script out to people, and now my producer Ram, he's a good producer, so he loves being in control, and so he loves being with those things. You can see when people are reading and how much they're reading, and he'll like he's Israeli. He'll like knock and he'll be like, "Hey, so and so just skipped 30 pages ahead." I'm like, "Stop being a helicopter parent. It's fine."
Yeah. I am curious just because as this series goes forward, there's like, I don't know, there's so many places that you can take it, but I love that you focused on faith in this one. And I was hearing kind of like your background in faith, and I'm just curious like how it's maybe your perspective on what it means to be religious changed through the process of making this film.
Yeah, I mean, making a movie is kind of a growth machine. You always go through a process of growth in so many different ways when you're making it. With this in particular, I mean, to write the character of Judd, because I'm not a believer anymore, I had to very much put myself back into the headspace of when I was and tap back into a lot of the things that I drew in a positive sense from faith, which was a really interesting process. I can't say there's no big end twist of like, and now I'm a believe again or something, but it's a constant, I don't know, it's a constant conversation. It's not a binary thing. It's always kind of a back and forth inside yourself about those big things.